Well, I'd like to talk today not so much about the EB-5 program because I've talked about it twice at Bosco events in October, but I'd like to talk about the questions I hear from my clients. These questions have to do with the process of COVID-19, which we all participate in actively. Due to this process, the entire geography of EB-5 as well as projects have changed around, and the EB-5 program statistics has changed in that a lot more people will be aspiring to get this visa, and also the presidential elections are underway, and people are asking what is going to happen if Biden becomes the president, and we expect improvement of immigration climate, and as well as and we also expect that EB-5 program will become cheaper compared to what it was before. That is 500,000. Since November 2019, it plummeted to 900,000. And these are some of the points I'd like to talk about a little bit. And I'd like to provide you with some of the advices to those people that are seriously considering applying to EB-5 program. First and foremost, how should the due diligence be done in the most appropriate way? This is the most important question, even more fundamental question than in time past, because EB-5 scope is actually reducing. Many of the firms which used to operate in this area are leaving the market, and I am switching, turning on my presentation, posting it on the screen. Hopefully we can see it, right?
Анастасия, вы...
Замечательно, спасибо.
Anastasia, thank you very much. Please pay attention to our contact info, contact points. I have shared them through the chat. I left my phone number in chat, down in chat, email. We're based in Rock Island, Illinois, and one other office we have launched recently in Dallas. And going back to Neil's presentation about NHK, the establishment of NHK became possible because NHK as the as a partner company of CMB has a lot, a lot of its investors have received their funds back, and they say that CMB has done a good job for them and returned their money to them, and where should they invest their money? So ultimately, we came up with the NHK Capital Partners company, not to provide people with green card, because we know that EB-5 has a low level profitability, but NHK is providing good interest rate and investments with a tangible, with a significant increase. Many people I decided to speak in Russian because, as I could see, a lot of the moderator is speaking in Russian, and most of the speakers are using Russian. Unlike my expectation, I expected that the marathon would be in English, but Russian language is my mother tongue, so I can provide anybody interested in the Russian or English versions of my presentation. I'm not going to pause on what is EB-5. Many people are choosing the United States. EB-5 and green card. Green card is almost equivalent to citizenship. It allows for permanent residence in the United States, and there are 2 points of difference between the citizenship and green card. The owners of green card cannot vote or work in government institutions. The green card, it provides a great advantage to those families that have scholars or students whose children are students or scholars, because many of the education institutions in the US are, are allowing a good discount for the holders of green card and international students. I'm talking about 20 to 30% for the holders of green card of or international student in terms their of their tuition. I'd like to pause a little bit on it is on the following, that perhaps the new administration will bring about changes
официальных
in the
выборов.
area of immigration. We need to wait till the official results of the elections, which will happen on December the 14th. But we all know that the first thing Mr. Biden might do, he might actually cancel all the executive decrees of Mr. Trump in the area of immigration, as he has promised to do it, as these are the things that actually pertain to the prohibited entry to the United States for some of the Middle Eastern citizens,
Что касается EB-5,
LSH1B, L1, and other categories. As for EB-5, we're talking about the category of immigrants which are making direct investments in the economy of the United States. They purchase real estate, they purchase property, their kids are studying in colleges. This is the category which is the most favorable for the United States, regardless of who will become the next president. EB-5 will continue existing as it brings in investments and makes new jobs in the United States. The program, the EB-5 program, depends on the Congress decision. It doesn't depend on the president. If the Congress decides so, it can stop or close down the EB-5 program, but I don't think it will do it. These are the key features of EB-5. Well, it's 900,000 USD.
которые надеются на то, что
As for the expected decrease of the minimum investment price, well, the overall opinion of market participants, of EB-5 market participants, is that the decrease in minimum investment price will most probably will not take place. If you intend to get the green card via this program, now is the best time to consider your participation in the program. I'd like to remind you of the fact that EB-5 is a job creation program, and your investment should create jobs. Our company CBM is creating jobs and provides for the uh, for the development of properties through EB-5. As you can see, in 2020, we have ensured the construction of two buildings, and the center uh, is using the investment funds, and we call this the creation of indirect jobs. EB-5 is an investment must be at risk, and I'd like to talk about it a little bit, as it is very important right now to choose the safest possible project, which has a good track record in terms of investment, refundable investments. So if you have different projects at hand, you need to, of course, you need to choose the most conservative approach, um, the safest company which has a great track record on the market, instead and perhaps you would need to disregard a company that has no refundable investments, doesn't have the kind of track record on the market. And you need to answer, in this regard, you need to answer the question as to whether or not the regional center you will choose is going to operate in 2-3 years down the road. These are the major goals of the investors, and just pay attention to this slide. These are the different stages of EB-5 timeline. There are 5 major stages or phases. Uh, Number 1 is due diligence. You need to understand whose interests do the consultants represent. As I see a lot of immigration consultants that uh, that use that work based on the principle of first come first served. They're not considering the longer perspective. We need to understand that some of the immigration consultants make their choice in favor, they choose the regional centers that provide them with higher fees. And you need to take this into consideration. And there's no recipe to know whether or not the consultant is good. You need to do your own do go through your due diligence, and you need to interact with people like myself, because the entire structure of partnership and investments should be understandable and transparent. Then the immigration application to be filed. If you file it right now, if you file it right now, well, in 2021, the reply will uh, will reach those applicants that have filed their applications in 2018. Lately, the the backlog of the immigration service has increased, and the immigration service has processed a smaller number of
после того, как
immigration applications, but I'm hopeful that it will gain its momentum.
визовой категории какой-то, то
After the application was approved,
статуса, если
you
ты в твоей собственной стране, то через
you go through the adjustment of status or consular interview. Then you
карту,
come
которая действует
to the US, and your green card is going to be
петицию и
effective for 2 years. Then you need to lodge your second application, and it should reflect 10 jobs that you have created over the 2-year period of time. The entire the entire EB-5 immigration process is lasting for about 6 to 7 years from the point when you file your first application to the final result.
вот это наши показатели на данный момент.
These are our indicators at the moment. That is how many people have. That is the number of. Well, we have 1.5 thousand plus of LPs with return of capital. We have 5.7 hundred plus EB5 participants, over 1.4 hundred I-8 29 approvals, and these are people that have been approved in terms of their second application. There are citizens of Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, Kazakhstan. Amongst these people, I have cooperated, I have worked with a lot of them personally since 2014, and so I'm a contact person representing SMB company for them. This is our financial and this is our investment structure. We never change our investment structure. It's always limited partnership, consisting of CMB, general partner, generating investments of EB-5 investors, and a certain number of investors which make their investments in the partnership. And these EB-5 money, they are deposited onto escrow account of the partnership, and then they're used to establish and create jobs. Also, the loan, a 6-year loan is provided by way of an option. Here, some of the borrowers can use the option of repaying the loan within a shorter period of time. Some of them can vote for leaving the partnership and getting their money back when they already are in the United States. The process is quite simple. The investment loan is a simple loan which is allocated for 6 years. It's a passive investment. You can make your investment and do your business, and your investment will get you the green card. And after you get the green card, you just vote to you just you just leave the partnership. So the process is quite simple. If you want to sell uh, your your um, investment, you can do it too. It's very easy to enter the EB-5 program, but it's more difficult. It's rather more difficult to leave the investment program. This is one of the key issues. All of our partnerships have been audited by the US company, and the statistics of approvals um, and refund of investments um, is a successful practice to the due to this auditing procedure. Just a few words I'd like to say about our today's partnership, the project which we look for investors for right now. It's a very simple project in terms of its structure, and it's very safe in that the project is about the logistics center, which is developed for a specific customer. We expect him to sign the long-term lease contract for 15 years. It, it's a customer which is one of the 10 top. We're talking about the warehouse where the products and are are stored, and then uh, in the process of online trade, these products are distributed and they leave the warehouse. Talking about the development of multiple warehouse and distribution facilities. So, and under the current pandemic situation, the volumes of distribution facilities has become very much demanded for. So the need in such multiple warehouses is increasing throughout the United States. Well, we have the title of this project is Group 75, and we allocate $26 million for the project's implementation. We're talking about 29 investments made for this project's implementation. I already have some investors from Russia that have allocated their investments for this project, and some from Ukraine that have signed the partnership agreements. And within the upcoming few days, I think they will start transferring their funds. I'd like to say that EB-5 market, the Russian-speaking EB-5 market is in existence. It has not vanished away, and we are signing the partnership documents. We conclude in 2020. We concluded 2 partnerships. This I will provide you with statistics. In the past quarter of 2019, over 5,526 applications have been filed. So you can feel the scope of activity, and the Hillwood footprint is one of the largest companies, has been in the market for 30 plus years. We have been cooperating with them in many projects. This is our 30th project we do with them. This is the project 31 with the Hill Company, and those people that study EB-5 will indeed understand that this is a great deal of development. You slowly and gradually move. Well, if you consider the number of projects in various regions of the United States, there might be about 30 altogether, whereas we have 31 projects done with a Hill Company only. And well, logistical centers, the warehouse and logistics facility are built very rapidly. And then the revenues and returns are accumulated to pay off the loan. And the return of the investments in this particular case will become possible because the company that we will conclude an agreement for 15 years time will pay off uh, the the cost of the lease, and off of that amount we will be able to repay the loan. It's situated nearby metro. It's situated in the Metro Detroit industrial market. There is a huge transportation hub here, which is a great advantage too. And the capital stack comprises several sources. Mainly, we're talking about senior loan, which is very important because banks, the bank is scrutinizing the developers, and the second largest amount will come from EB-5 investors and also equity investors equity. We have, well, job creation also provides for about 70% of jobs, which is a lot. This is indicative of the fact that one investment will account for 17 jobs instead of 10 jobs, which is also very safe because you will also get, you will definitely get your green card, even in case if some of the jobs are disqualified by the immigration service, although this can hardly happen in reality. And this is our last slide. We have the entire equity for the project's implementation because the developer has contributed his own additional assets and equity for the development, and the additional assets of the developer will be substituted by EB-5 funds. This is basically everything I wanted to tell you in brief. If you have any questions to ask, I'd be happy to answer them. Also, my contact points, contact info is in chat. Thank you very much, Vitaly. We have a question from the audience. Are there any sovereign government guarantees for investment refunding? In which state does this exist? This has never been in existence, and it will never exist because the conditions of EB-5 program has to do with the fact that the investment has to be at risk, and neither the regional center nor any government of the state will refund it ever. That's why the agreement between the partner and the developer includes an obligation which could be considered as a guarantee, so to say. And from this perspective, this context, rather, we need to consider the project safety or security when the developer is actually providing their guarantee that whatever should happen, they will um, they will complete the piece of property in consideration, and the investor will get their green card, and the investments will be refunded. Should anything happen with the project or the developer to stop the investor from receiving their funds back, the green card will belong to the investor, because the investor has created these jobs. So if any regional center is talking about the government guarantees, you need to understand that you need to refuse investing with this regional center. I wanted to provide you with the statistics going back to April through July the 2020. 38% of refusals took place pertaining to 528 applications. Applications 528 and 529. I'd like to say that we're talking about 38%, which is a huge percentage of refusals. This could be because this could happen because the immigration service could not find valid proof for the origin of the funds, which is the low quality. In this particular case, we're talking about the incompetence of the lawyer. And if your immigration, if your lawyers are providing any specific projects, you need to think about the fact that they might be affiliated with immigration centers. Thank you very much, Vitaly. We let's see what will happen to EB-5 program upon the new president's entry into office, because of course the program should be in effect as it's very effective. Thank you, and we wish you successes. Thank you very much, Anastasia. It's been a pleasure to participate in this marathon together with you. Thank you very much. And before I let you go, we have one more question for you to answer. And let's finish it. Let's answer this question as well. Is the green card holder automatically considered the tax resident of the United States? Yes, you become the tax resident of the United States, and you need to file your tax reports or statements to the tax service. Of course, the United States has double taxation agreements with many countries, and you would be better off connecting with your tax consultant to provide them with your tax data and sort this issue out before before you file your tax reports. Thank you very much, Vitaly. We'll see you soon, offline or online.